to you from Baker's Green Acres. This is the Anyone Can Farm live chat Thursday night edition, and for prosperity sakes or posterity sakes, it's Thursday, February 9th, 2023. So we got a really interesting situation tonight. I'll kind of set this one up. You guys know we do herd shares, so we milk 4, 5, 6, whatever cows, and we take the milk over to Cadillac. And I guess these guys heard about it, and so they were doing the paperwork with Jill, and Jill said, "Hey, is this a business?" According to the email address. So they got to talking, and it seems like a really interesting business. And I think these days, I think anybody that's associated with this movement is seeing a tsunami of involvement in homesteading and small farms and intentional living. Right? People are seeing this. But here's some people that saw it and jumped on it, and we get to hear their story and other things too along the way. If you have questions, by all means, enter them in. But I'd like to introduce to you Alex and Morgan Mitchell. We had a hard time. I said, am I interviewing the husband or the wife? Because both of your names are kind of interchangeable gender-wise, right? I guess
Yep.
That's pretty good. And they're north of me a couple hours, and we would like to open the floor up to them so they can introduce themselves and say what they're all about. I've talked to them for like 2 minutes before the show, but that's okay because they've got an interesting story to tell. So why don't you guys take it away and tell us, how, like, where you're from, who you are, how you, a little background, and just we've got about an hour.
All right, I'll go first. I'm Morgan, for
Okay.
the record. So,
Okay.
I'm Alex.
We've been married 16 years. We just celebrated 16 years of marriage early January. So, yeah, we've known each other for about 20 and got married 16 years ago, and lived in Traverse City area most of my life, and about would have been how long ago? 9 years ago? 10?
15.
15 years ago, the business started. I was thinking of when we moved.
Oh, yeah.
The business started 15 years ago, actually, because of a dream, which, not to go into too much of that, but a relative of ours, my sister, actually had a dream, and in the dream, people were trading seeds for silver. And that sparked research on our part, and we didn't know anything about seeds until then. And that was before there was a lot of publicity around GMO and hybrid seeds and what was happening with seeds around the globe. Now most people know what GMO is and what's happening to the seed supply, but back then it was pretty rare. And so we started doing some research, and after the research, we went, wow. Back at that time, a very small percentage of seed was reproducible. And so at that time, primarily her and my sister and a couple other family members put together some seed kits, a lot like what you see behind us. And we just sold them to family members. And not to make any profit, just to break even. And they were all heirloom seeds, so they were able to reproduce, and it was more to get seeds into the hands of the people we love. And after that happened, we sold those in how long?
The first year we harvested only heirloom seeds from our garden, and everybody heard about it and wanted some of them. And so we just made up little individual bags and passed them out to friends and family. And beyond that, we had extra. So we put together little packages and sold them for a small amount of money. Yeah. But then the next year, I don't know, the word spread and people wanted more, and then they wanted more. And so that was 15 years ago. So now it's just expanded, and we sell and send our seed kits all over the world.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it started from that, but we didn't know that much. But as we started to do some research, I'm not a botanist or biology, major, but it was pretty alarming, and it's way more alarming now. How much seed is actually reproducible, as I'm sure you know, Mark.
Yeah.
And it's we've changed a lot in 15 years. The last 3 years, especially when COVID hit, that was when people really started to go, "Wow, we need to own seeds." Our business really took off.
Yeah.
So
Huh. I had no idea it was 15 years. I thought this was recent.
Mm-mm.
yeah, we did a
Huh.
CSA for a while. A couple years, we lived in Fife Lake,
Okay.
down still in northern Michigan, and did a
Yep.
CSA. Used our own seeds, and
I think what I would add to what Morgan was saying on the history of it, back 15 years ago, we just lived downtown Traverse City and we had a 12 by 12 garden.
Yeah.
And we just decided the one year, let's just grow heirloom seeds to see how they do, because we knew they taste better, they look, more beautiful. Everything. We just thought, let's just give it a shot and try. And so that year we only grew a few things, and we decided, let's teach ourselves how to save the seeds from them.
Yeah.
Because nobody we knew was doing that. Most people we knew, gardeners and farmers, were growing hybrid seeds.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to, let's grow heirloom seeds, let's save the seeds. And that's kind of how it started. Then we, from that, got good at growing heirloom vegetables, where then we could take them and sell them at the farmer's market, or, to restaurants and stores and stuff like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of started small. And
Yep.
then little by little, you just, because at first I didn't know where the carrot seed was. I didn't know where the spinach seed was.
Yeah.
You don't really think about those things. Like, where are those seeds, learning how to do so many varieties of seeds that you don't normally, that we don't actually see with the eye.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. So I'm just curious, when you were living in Traverse City, what were you doing? What were your career fields?
Good question. So I was involved in ministry. I helped start, myself and a group started what's called the House of Prayer in Traverse City, Michigan.
I know where
And
that
so,
is.
I'm sorry?
I know where that is.
Yeah, so that's what I was giving myself to primarily, and then doing
Huh.
some stuff on the side to raise some money.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And at that time, I was a stay-at-home mom and going to school for naturopathic doctor and stuff.
Okay. Wow. The plot thickens here. I mean, when you say your sister had a dream
Yeah,
of trading silver for seeds, I mean, if somebody had that dream last week, it'd be like, oh yeah, what? Tell me another one, right? But 15 years ago, a
yeah,
dream like that was not a common theme that was out
Right.
there. I think, if somebody has a dream about a pandemic, let's say, we would, oh really? Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. That is really cool. I actually, Jill and I stop in there when we go to the airport
Oh,
to get
yeah,
Mhm.
coffee. Yeah, I've been
really?
in there probably 15 times.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that coffee shop, 100% of the proceeds fund the ministry of the House of Prayer.
I figured.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yep.
I figured. Sitting there, I that was my thought. Pretty good. Okay, so we have common roots, I can see.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
All
do.
right. So now, all right. So you didn't get into this because you saw this huge tsunami of. You wouldn't have seen that 15 years ago because nobody saw it 15 years ago.
Mm. Not
So
necessarily.
this timing is quite the coincidence, isn't it?
Mhm.
Quite the
Yeah.
coincidence. Yeah.
Providential, I would say.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
believe in
now,
coincidences at all. Not at all.
yeah, it was
Everything is
God.
direct.
God was leading and guiding,
Okay. All
but
right.
yeah,
So can you tell us then? I was gonna ask you about ARK, and I thought, well, does it mean something, but tell us about that then.
good question. Do you want to know?
Well, we just at the very beginning, we thought, when we came up with the idea of this packaging that is literally like PVC tube, and so with the cap and the the bottom and the top, and we thought this is could provide seeds for gardeners, but even more so because they're heirloom and they can reproduce year after year after year. So all of our varieties are over 100 years old. So they've gone through all the drought and the blight and the diseases. They've withstood all of the really bad times. So they're the strongest seeds. And we were thinking when we put them together in this tube, we just literally thought of the Ark and how, the whole story of Noah and the Ark and how it basically saved the human race and the population, the animals and everything. We were looking at it the same as having seeds for your family to be able to provide for food for the future, for any uncertainties. And so we thought that name Ark, we could just leave it be, or it could mean something. And so it actually stands for Agricultural Resource Kit. So it's an acronym for it, even though it has the Ark on the front as well. So that's how we came up with the name.
Yeah. One other thing I would add is just like with Noah, you probably know the story, Mark, but there was a righteous seed, it says, saved when the waters came. And just as in the days of Noah, so also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. We anticipate there's going to be a great and dreadful day coming in the future, and so people are going to need natural seed, like Noah needed saving in the ark. So,
yeah, this is very interesting. It's an approach that is taking me by surprise, but I should know this, all right, because one of the things that we do, I have kind of a military background, is we set up systems that are sovereign systems, that they're not centralized, so that no matter what, you'll have autonomous people that will be able to work with what they have to complete the mission. So, there's a place someplace, you guys probably know where it is. It's maybe it's in Norway, and they have a vault where they keep all the best seeds. But there again, it's centralized. It's one vault, but this way,
aptly named the Ark.
is it named the Ark too?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I heard about that probably 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. There was a lawsuit that my family was going through over pigs, and the state said that our pigs were feral. That was the name that they gave them, and they said we had to get rid of them. But there was a man that came into my life. He came in, and then he swooped out. I don't think I even knew his real name. But he said a lot of things. But one of the things he said was that companies, big companies, you'd know the names. Everybody knows the names. They were patenting seeds. And part of what was going on with the feral swine agenda was to make it so that they would stamp out all the heritage breeds and just have the hybridized breeds that they could then patent. So like a standard black and white cow, they could patent it. And that way I could use a cow like that, but only under license. So they would have the patent to that cow.
Wow.
And what we did was we said no, and we fought it in court. And then when everything was said and done, what Jill and I did was we took the breeding stock from the pigs that they wanted us not to have, and we spread them out far and wide so nobody could get a handle on them.
Oh,
And that strategy worked really well. They've totally lost control of that. And so I can see what you're doing. There's a method to this madness here. And I'm getting
yeah.
chills
Well,
thinking about this. Yeah.
that's interesting you bring that up. So in relationship to seeds, when we
Yeah.
started 15 years ago, it was 4% of seed was heirloom. Right now it's less than 0.5% in the United States. So that means out of 100 seeds, less than 0.5% is able to reproduce after its own type and kind. You can actually sow it in the ground, harvest it, and then give it to your neighbor. So it's not increasing, it's decreasing, as you said, with GMOs, because there is, not everyone's sinister, but there's definitely a monetary incentive if you own the patent or licensing on a seed, and someone
Okay.
has to come back to you every year. But with any heirloom seed, you can give them away, you can harvest them, there's a lot of freedom, I would say, just like with the pigs.
Yeah.
They can reproduce on their own.
All right. How about this for our listeners? Would you give us a good definition of GMO seeds? What that means, what that acronym means?
Do you want to do it or you want me to? GMO just stands for genetically modified organism. So
Okay.
it means that it's been modified in the genetic level. So with most seeds, what they've done, GMOs, is they've taken a seed, and the reason they own a patent is they put some type of insecticide in the DNA structure of that to alter the seed. So it's actually not even licensed as a seed, because you can't own seed. You can't, it's illegal. So what they do is they license it as an organism, a separate organism. And the reason they do that is they can, again, it's not always sinister, but if they do that, they can spray whole crops with tons of Roundup or insecticide. It won't kill them, and they're more apt to withstand drought. But the issue with that is they don't reproduce every year. So obviously they have to grow these on their own, and then
Yeah.
they own the patent. So it's a genetically modified organism.
Okay. I've wondered, I heard years ago that they had what they called a suicide gene, that you could plant the corn that you get from, say, Monsanto. It was Roundup ready, so you could spray it with Roundup. It would kill everything but the corn. But then if you tried to save the seeds, that they would not reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
I
they won't.
never really knew anybody that tested that out. Do you have any
Mm-hmm.
firsthand knowledge of that?
Great question. I haven't. I don't remember us ever trying it, but
Yeah, what happens is if you were to go to Home Depot and pick out a packet of hybrid watermelon variety seed,
Yeah.
and plant them this year, they'll grow a watermelon, and you can harvest it, eat it, save the seeds from it. But the next year, if you try to plant those seeds, they'll grow a plant, but they will not grow a watermelon.
won't produce fruit.
So
Okay.
that's the issue with most hybrid varieties, is because you can't rely on them year after year. If for some reason you're not able to get seed, or the quality isn't good from that batch that year, then you end up having a bunch of seeds that won't grow you any food.
Okay.
If
Now
that
I've heard that. I've
Mhm.
heard that, but I just don't know firsthand that
Yeah.
that's the case. I just don't know it. And we're not big produce people. We're like
Mhm.
home garden people. But
Right.
years ago, this was probably more than 15 years ago. There's a guy, he was just here this weekend, Craig Schaff. Have you heard that
Mhm.
name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
And
we're friends with Craig.
Craig is a wealth of
okay.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's the one
Yeah.
that turned me on to saving seeds and that whole idea of
Mhm.
a parallel seed repository. And I think it's very important. So you're quite specific in the breeds that you're providing. Is that
Mhm.
correct? It's not just
We've
everything.
we've over the 15 years, we've changed varieties here and there depending on what grows well and what doesn't. So we haven't stayed with the same varieties over the 15 years, but for the most part, we like to have a pretty big selection. So for example, like in one of these, the tubes like this, we offer 6 to 7 different types of beans, and they're all specific. Some are pole beans, some are bush beans, some are used for you can use to make refried beans or soup beans. They're or green beans. So we try to have like a good mixture to offer. So it's not just one specific type of bean. Same thing with tomatoes. We offer like 7 to 8 different varieties of tomatoes. And some are for canning, some are for slicing, some are cherry tomatoes, or it just gives a good variety.
Okay. So is this a national distribution or just a local? I'm unclear about that yet.
Good question. Well, it started local, but it's grown.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
there's no way we could even keep up with the demand on we're sending kits all over the nation. We were sending the kits all over the world, but during COVID, most nations shut down the ability to bring in seeds into their country. So we made the decision just United States.
Okay. Yeah, I better look at some of these comments because this is it. This is fascinating me, and I haven't been looking at the comments, but we better keep up with them. We got Sean Wise is with us. Dion's with us. Seeds for Silver drop the. I can't read that. Okay.
It looks like
Drop the bomb.
I think it's drop the mic. I think it's seeds for silver. Drop the mic.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mic drop.
Okay. Dion's a local. He's a regular here. Crunchy Mama. That's Sean Kelly. Sean's from Traverse City, and his folks still live up there. Yeah. So he's coming here for Tribe Day with his family, and so he says, "Looks like I'm bringing some silver to Tribe Day this year." All right. Yeah. What's this? David Duncan says, God is behind this movement. How do you know? How do you know?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Abundant Living. That's Jill. So she's one of the moderators here. She's saying, if any of you are in the Tribe Plus membership on our website, these guys have offered you a discount to get their seeds. So there's another reason to join up the Tribe Plus. Well, I like the way all these dots are connecting now. This is too cool. Okay, Beely Good. We are going to have our first garden this year. Good. Now's the time.
Yep.
Okay. Branding is incredible. Yeah, and Sean knows all about that. Okay. So could you tell us if these seeds are sourced from northern Michigan?
No. Originally we were trying to grow a lot of them ourselves, but because of the demand, we've had to get them from other locations from around the nation.
Okay.
So we have built relationships with people that have a lot more acreage than us, and are able to get them that are genetically certified as heirloom. And so we have to buy in bulk. We have to buy wholesale in bulk. And then we package them. We're still a family-run business. This summer, our kids were down helping put all the seed kits together. So,
okay.
But because the demand is so great, there's no way we could keep up. We would have to. I mean, who knows how many acres we'd have to own to do it.
Yeah, and personnel too.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily a weak spot. I mean, it's very convenient for somebody to source all that stuff and put it together and make those kits. That's a lot of convenience.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
We actually get a lot of calls from people that are inner city. They'll call us or they'll order that are not necessarily rural, and they've heard about the kit and they just want to have a kit just in case. They're buying it, they're putting it on a shelf, they're storing it in case they need it. So it's not just gardeners. We're actually getting quite a few orders from people that are looking at this as a potential resource beyond just gardening, that seeds could even be a currency. So because of that, we put together a kit that we just thought, it's 70 varieties. It's the best kit we could honestly and morally give someone to give them a fighting chance if something catastrophic happened and they would say have to pull something off a shelf. There's a seed guide that goes in our big kit. It tells the novice what to do on every variety, how to harvest the seeds, everything. So, but I will say one of the things you brought up with Craig, and he would probably say this, is diversity. I think it's really important. Our kit has 70 varieties, but get as many varieties as you can. If you're collecting seeds, grab as many as you can, because diversity is key. So,
yeah. And then I know he would say this. I kind of want to coax you into saying this, but a heritage or an heirloom variety, if you sent that variety up to, say, British Columbia, and they grew them up there for a couple of years, they're gonna naturally more change. They're going to change for the climate in that area. Could you kind of flesh that out a little bit? I know a little bit about it from hearing it from Craig, but I don't know exactly how that works.
Yeah, so depending on the climate, you're spot on. The variety will adapt. So if you're in a desert type climate, you can still grow, but it's obviously over years, it's going to naturally say, I need less moisture and I'm going to have more sun. Obviously, there's certain restrictions. You can't, corn does really well in heat. We know that, but whatever seed you have, it will adapt to your climate, which is, it's a fact. So if you have something, it's far more beneficial to start growing it and harvesting the seed.
Yeah, I would say there's some natural selection in there.
Yep.
So then a person could get one of your kits, propagate the entire kit, and then save and do the same thing. They could replicate it. Is that true?
Yes.
That's
Oh,
exactly
absolutely.
opposite of what our friends at Monsanto do, right?
Right.
Yeah, we would love for everyone to have some type of kit, everyone in America to have some type of kit in their hands and have some seeds.
Yeah. I think to add to that, we started out thinking we were just going to connect with gardeners because that's kind of how we started. And then without us really doing too much or putting a lot of effort into it, it has clearly become in the last few years that our biggest market is people who are wanting to be more prepared for uncertain times. So we do sell, I would say, less than 25% is probably just to gardeners who want to garden in their backyard. The majority of people and families are just wanting to have a sense of security, like food security, and learning how to grow now in case things become more uncertain in the future.
Yeah.
And so to your comment that you just made, Mark, like a really good example is we have actually, let me just grab it so you guys can see it.
She's walking over and she's grabbing something. I don't know what she's doing here. Oh, she's grabbing a seed guide.
This is just a visual for people who are visual. So this is like right, like one of the packets here of our field corn that we use currently. So in the 1 year, probably about 5 years back, we planted this whole bag. And when it came time to harvest in the fall, we pulled all the corn stalks out of the ground. We pulled all the cobs off the corn stalks. We husked all the seeds off, and when they dried, and we saved them. And so from this size bag, we saved 5 5-gallon buckets of seed. So it gives you kind of a good perspective on how quickly your seed stock can grow, especially if you're wanting, you have to feed animals or grind your own flour,
Yeah.
make your own cornmeal or whatever. It happens really quick. You can grow your seed crop really fast. And it's, it is, some of it's tedious work, some of it's really easy. And quick. Some of the herbs take a long time because they're very small, microscopic seeds.
Yeah.
But it's, that's more of our passion is turned more into helping families be prepared or feel prepared for not just gardening, maybe a small backyard garden, but if the time comes where they actually have to supply their family with food, or back in, most of us know in the Depression, if you didn't have a garden, a lot of people didn't eat.
Victory gardens.
That they call them victory gardens. So,
Right. Yeah. Victory gardens.
Anyway, it's just that definitely over the last few years has turned more into, market, I guess, reaching those people who they're more minded like that than just backyard gardeners.
I completely agree. I think Jill probably told you we had a midwinter meetup. It was just kind of off the cuff. Jill said we need to get people together midwinter before we do a seed saving thing in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing. We're just getting people together. There's people just swap seeds, and we have a potluck. And the
That's
first
great.
year was maybe 15 people. I think last year there was 100 people here. But
Wow.
the point is, I don't think it's our slick marketing that's making this happen. I think it's an awakening inside of the intellect, the hearts, whatever you want to call it, of people. And I honestly don't believe that it's just COVID-19 that did it to them, or the events around it. I think there's a timeline here, it seems like. And people this weekend, we were expecting 20 or 30 folks. There was 80 people that showed up.
Wow.
And it was standing room only. Dion even sent me a text as we're listening to Craig. Craig was the one that was talking to us, and he says, "Can you believe there's 80 people in this room? It's freezing. The wind's blowing, standing room only, and everybody's staying and smiling and having a good time." And then we had a potluck afterwards. It was really neat. But I don't think it's just slick marketing. I think it's what's supposed to be. It's just, this is the timeline. This is the, I don't know how to explain it exactly. I think it's coming whether we like it or not. And it seems like you've been positioned. He was pre-positioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you're spot on. I think there's something in the heart of most people in our nation. If you turn on the news, they report the 2% over here or the 2% over here. Yeah. Most people are waking up and saying, man, we're going to have to change the way we live and the way we do life. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did see a comment though that someone asked about the description. Could you describe one of your kits? It'd take a while to really go into in depth. I would say go to our site. It's arkseedkits.com, and it will give a description of our kits. So,
okay. Is it just that kit, or is there alternate kits that you can get, like field crop kits or anything like that?
Yeah, we sell three kits. The all-in-one is the one that Alex grabbed. This guy is the all-in-one.
Yeah,
that's the one that's 70 varieties. Then we have
this is like a smaller version of that with less varieties. This is for like maybe like a small backyard.
Okay.
But this is the descriptions on the I guess what I would say to answer that, to describe when we started 15 years ago, there was 4 seed companies, and now there's over 50.
Yeah.
And so my comment would be is, if you are looking at gardening or getting seeds, to just do your research really well, because we have weekly people emailing us and calling saying that they've bought their seeds off of Amazon, or they bought seeds from a certain company, and they were basically expecting them to grow, and they planted their whole gardens and nothing grew. So there's a lot of companies, seed companies, that have formed over the last few years, and they are actually ordering and getting seeds from China. And it's hard to tell like what's good quality and what's not. So just really do your research.
Yeah.
And when we first put together the kit 15 years ago, we wanted to make basically what we, in our opinion, what we thought would be the best, most wide variety of options for people.
Okay.
It's kind of like what we would want ourselves. And so we thought we want to make a seed kit that is high protein, high calories, something that if you had to actually live off from, that it would feed your family. Not
Lettuce.
low calories. Some of the seed companies you look at, and it's such a high seed count, and they kind of boast about the seed counts, but it's full of lettuce and broccoli, which is not really gonna sustain you.
Hard
So
to
it's
live on that. Yeah.
something to look into and make sure that you are, actually seeing all those details. So
Yeah.
when we put this, we wanted to offer a lot of beans, root crops, a lot of squashes, parsnips, beets, filling things. And then on top of that, we also include 6 types of culinary herbs and 10 types of medicinal herbs. So if that's something people are interested in, then this comes in it as well. This is a seed guide that we wrote, and it goes through a whole description of all the seeds that are in the kit, and then how to save the seeds. So if you're just learning, and you, like I said, you don't know where the spinach seed comes from, it'll teach you in there how to do it. Or say you want to learn how to make medicine from certain medicinal herbs, then that description in there as well. So, and what the medicinal herbs are for and how to use them.
Okay. That's really informative. Yeah, every year we really don't have a system. We just get the seeds that we see on the shelf and plant them and hope for the best. And sometimes we even get starts and put them in.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get more scientific about it, and maybe one of these times we will. It seems as though our main thing is livestock, so we're pretty good at that, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Let's see. David Duncan is saying, how about fodder crops? Are there heirloom seeds available for fodder crops?
Yes. Yes, there are. We don't offer them. And I'm assuming he's talking about like cover crops.
I think he's talking like fodder beets and things for feeding pigs.
Yep.
We do a lot of that here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got
Probably
you.
like
Yeah.
field peas.
Yep. Peas, quick growing like turnip greens and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, there are. We don't offer them, but you can definitely get it.
Clover. Okay.
Clover, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They do have heirloom varieties for all of that.
Jill gets that stuff. I think she gets it from some from Baker Creek occasionally, and there's 2 or 3 of them. Johnny's, we get stuff from them. But according to Craig, that's kind of by the time it makes it to us, it's the least of the seed count. It's not as good.
Mm-hmm.
The big growers get the first bite on it.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Does he mean germination rates or quality of seed, or what was he referring to, Mark?
He talks about that a lot, both.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you understand that, then it motivates you to save your own seeds. And then the change of the seeds from year to year as they adapt to the biosphere that you're in, then it really gets quite exciting, I think.
Yep.
This is something that I think we should all be doing probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you still living in Traverse City?
We are. Yeah,
All
we're
right.
in Traverse City.
Okay.
Doing ARK here and
Mhm.
running the
So
ministry.
it's a full-time thing for you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That's good. Well, like us, we've got several things going. I wouldn't say anything's it. Like we have the farm, but we do other things on the side as well to keep the home fires burning.
Mhm.
Let's see. Uh, is there anything that you'd like to throw out there? I'm at a loss for
I'm just
questions. Is
looking over
people
here
in the
at the
chat, have you guys got some questions?
question.
Well, there's one.
Currently we are still having issues sending anywhere outside of the US. So we have a
Okay.
question about getting the seeds to Canada. So typically what I say when people email or call us on this, there's just no guarantees. So I'm totally willing to send them, but we are having a lot of issues with shipping and people are not receiving their orders outside of the US right now. They're still having issues, which is really unfortunate.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it looks like Terry asked about Canada. Canada's
Mhm.
cracking down pretty hard.
I'm
So-
I'm just trying to keep tabs on, with the shipping and our relationships that we have with that, because it seems to be still an issue. So hopefully they lighten up on that.
So when people order one of those kits, does it go from Traverse City?
Yes.
It
Mhm.
does. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. So it really is a mom and pop organization.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yes. We are
warehouse all that stuff there, and
in our
Yep.
basement. Yes.
oh wow, good on you.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I mean,
It
you
is.
develop where you're planted.
Yeah.
Yep. One other question is, how long will are the seeds viable?
Mhm.
We say 15, maybe 20 years. I mean, the only thing that will change is germination rates. Obviously, and how you store them is really important. Cool, dark, dry place.
Mhm.
And you have about 15 to 20 years where the germination rates should stay really good. After that, they'll start to diminish. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
And the pack, like these packages here, this is like a Mylar bag. And so it
Yeah.
keeps out any moisture or keeps the seeds like viable. And then the tube, some people ask about this, like you can pop this off and take some of the seeds out and plant them.
Yeah.
1 year, close it back up, and you can do that year after year, as long as you store it somewhere, cool, dark, and dry, not in the
right.
refrigerator, not in the freezer.
Doesn't
but if
need to be
you're-
that cool. No.
No. No, some people stick them in the freezer, and the seed is alive, so you don't want to completely suck all the oxygen out of it, and that will definitely kill it. So
Okay.
I'll see if there's any other questions over here.
Yeah, and if you have your own seed varieties, obviously stick them in a Ziploc bag. Don't
Yeah.
leave them out. So,
Mhm.
as you're growing your own stock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. What has happened at the the Seed Savers Day is people are saving their own seeds, and then they break them down into smaller groups, and then put those on a table, and everybody shares them,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's a great idea.
it works out pretty good. I'm definitely not as serious about it as I need to be. You got to be really on top of it to get that stuff planted and then harvest seeds out of it. And yeah, you got to be on it. Okay, Terry's saying, well, I drive truck for a living, so I'll be coming to get some kits. Okay, he must be coming over to the United States to get them. He's going to smuggle them then. Seed smuggler. Bury the
His
seed
secret is safe.
smuggler.
We
You got any
get
seeds in
emails.
there, boy?
We get emails quite a bit from people. Now, the last couple of years, we haven't been able to send to other countries, but before that, we get emails from people who are missionaries or live on the other side of the world, listing all the different countries that they've taken these seeds into, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, Israel, all over South America, and quite a few places in the Middle East, you know, where
Huh.
they're taking these seeds and growing them and then saving them, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
My wheels are turning when you talk about that, because I used to go to a Bible camp, and they'd play this game called Bible Smuggler, and I always thought, well, how cool is that? Like, nobody even cares if we memorize these words, and then when we go to another country, we write them down. Nobody even cares, but it has a huge effect, and I can see
Mhm.
where smuggling seeds would be probably a pretty good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So, Mark, were you maybe like a month or two ago? Were you on Mike Adams' show?
I was.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we are real good partners with him as well.
Oh, are you?
And
Yeah.
for the last year or so, I thought that we heard you on there as well, but again, there's another connection. So Mike
Yeah.
has been, you know, well, Mike and a lot of mainstream news. There's a lot of buzzwords going around about seeds being a form of currency again.
Uh-huh.
And so
I could see that.
that tends to be, whereas again, 10, 15 years ago, people thought you're crazy if you said something like that. But
Yeah.
now it's kind of in the same
Yeah.
conversation as gold and silver.
Yeah. Well, even a lot of people, they look at gold and silver and they handle it and they say, "Oh, it's nice, but you know, it's not." Well, right now, it doesn't seem to have intrinsic value right now. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's the same with food, because food, it really is plentiful in this country. It is so plentiful. A lot of it's not really fit to eat, but still, people are not going hungry.
Yep.
But if you go out of the country to third world countries, food is not plentiful.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it nobody knows, but the feeling is that the food system is centrally controlled in this country, and I think they wish to control it even more than they did.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've been saying here for a while, I heard this from another guy. I didn't make it up, but uh, the people that listen to him, he's a comedian too, so he's not exactly a spiritual leader, but people are worried, and they go to him and say, "What are we going to do?" And he just says, "Evil is weak. Continue to build."
Hmm.
And I see everything that comes from the evil side, the side that seeks to control and manipulate and steal. It's always done about halfway, because their people are never committed. They're always mercenary in one form or another, and they're working against us, the homeland, the people with the families, and property to protect, and we don't half step things, and we are continuing to build. So what you guys are doing is, like, it's an essential part of what we're going to need in the days
Yeah.
to come.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we don't need it, if they know we have it, it backs them off,
Mm-hmm.
and that we have these conversations right out in the open. Where
Yep.
things have changed, in my opinion. I've been at this for longer, and I have kind of a war mentality.
Yeah.
And I think that it's changed. It's like when we used to kind of want to hide from them, the parasite bureaucrat class. We wanted to hide from them. Now it's almost like we're hunting them, not maybe not quite hunting them, but we're laying ambush for them, just waiting. Come and get it. And I think a time is coming where they won't even be able to walk the streets because they've created fury in this country like the people of this country have never known, because we've never had an oppressive opposing army on our soil. Civil war was one thing, but nobody in this country knows what it was like to have the British on our soil. And even at that time, a lot of people felt like, well, these are our people too, so we really should. But yeah, I think we've had about a belly full of it, and I don't know as it's exactly going to start in. Well, I don't know where it's going to start. I have no idea, and I really don't care. I don't even think I'm going to be part of it. I think my role is to just maintain, just to tarry, just keep going, and yeah.
You think it's the next generation, Mark?
No.
You think it's in this generation?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because I don't think a lot of people my age are going to let it go. Like
Enough
I
is
said,
enough?
no. The fury is, I think if you look up the word fury, it's an energy that seeks an outlet. We're not happy with this.
Yep.
And I'm not going to leave this for my kids. It's not their thing. This is my generation. I'm the baby boomer. I'm the one that it's my generation that's doing this. It's the Bill Clinton era.
Yep.
I know that there was evil and greed before this, but nothing like this satanic twist that came from the baby boomer generation. Nothing like that. And even the kids behind us, behind the baby boomers, they're kind of like your generation. You're kind of like, what? Us? That's not us. I mean, you guys were involved in, I don't know, video games and skateboarding and stuff. Nothing like my generation was involved in.
Yeah.
Nothing. And it wasn't good enough. My generation didn't find it good enough to just have, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They had to twist it even further. They had to twist it into homosexuality, which is the scourge of this nation right now. I know they don't like to hear that on YouTube, but it actually is, because that's opened the door to other things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's not ending there. Evil has to keep going. Well, there's no neutral either.
No.
Whether you're manifesting or pushing forward darkness or light, there's no neutral. So you're pushing forward one or the other. And so evil has to continue to grow and get more and more evil. But I agree with you. I'm an optimist, so I actually think things are getting better, especially as we talk to people. One of the great things is we've been able to have conversations with people from around the nation, and they are fed up. I mean, a lot of people are fed up, and they're kind of done with how things have been going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And another thing that I've seen, I've been witnessing this kind of the position that we're in, and we didn't set out to do what we're doing now. We just said, okay, what's next? What do you want us to do next? And then we stepped through that door, and then so on and so on. And now we do a lot of training, but I still have to keep looking back and saying, no, we've got to maintain our production level on the farm, because without doing that thing, there's no credibility to train people. You have to do the thing. But what I was going to say was we're seeing a completely different crowd of people coming into sustainable living, homesteading, farming. And a lot of times they don't really know why, because you ask them and you say, like, how come you're doing this? And the answers are not concise. For me, I can answer very concisely. It's because I lived out of the country and I saw what it's like in other places. And not only that, you come back to the States and people are not only not interested in when their next meal is coming, the things that they are interested in and they fight over and they watch and it's just it's like a bad movie.
Mhm.
And but it only works when it's working. As soon as it stops working, it's like people shake and they say, "Oh, where am I?" And all of a sudden they're in the world. And these are not like the people that came last weekend. There was 80 of them there. I talked to maybe 10% of them, but they weren't the. It used to be in homesteading. It was the crowd of people that, well, I can't do nothing else, so I might as well do this. These are people that are well established in other career fields, educated,
Hmm.
able-bodied, and they've said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to maybe continue my career field, but I'm going to do this as well. And I feel like I'm with the winning team, where, you know, the like the would-be bureaucrats that years ago would storm a meeting on private property and say, is this food inspected before you feed it? You know, and that used to happen pretty readily. They're not about to try that, come into a whole room full of farmers. They're not about to try that anymore. But they're on the losing team, obviously, at this point.
Yeah.
They're obviously on the losing team. I mean,
Yep.
it's the same ilk. They're of the same ilk that convinced people to, to take the what, which I can't say on here, or they're going to throw
Oh
me off.
yeah, don't get us started on that.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the rage that wells up within us. And I tell you what, as the weeks and months click by and, things start to pile up, that rage is going to come to a critical point. And we're going to start looking at the people who knew better but didn't say anything.
Yep.
Can you excuse me a sec? I got a dog right here that's needing to go out. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem.
She texted.
Did she?
Did she? No.
I was afraid he was going to wet himself if I didn't let him out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that.
Yeah, we sidetracked a little bit. Basically, a lot of your kits go to preppers then, right?
They do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They do.
We talk about that on here. I mean, because I know it's a little bit uncomfortable for some people to say, oh, yeah, I'm prepping. I'm a prepper. Well, what are you prepping for? I say we're farmers, we're homesteaders. We're always prepping for the next season. There could be a tornado in the next season or something else, but we have to be prepared for whatever's going to come our way. So
yeah,
this is a good tool. I appreciate you guys doing this.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Well, yeah, we appreciate what you do.
Yeah. I have a quick question though for you, Mark.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened with the pigs? Because even as you were telling that story, I thought I've got to ask him. So they're spread out. Are they all over the state?
They're all over the country.
They are.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No
Let me
kidding.
tell you what their strategy was. This puts it in perspective. They never wanted to take them away. That was just their first bargaining chip. And it was so outrageous that they thought, and it's a strategy. It's a strategy that they use. They'll put something out there very outrageous, and we're sane people and well-educated people, and we try to say, no, that's not really what that word means. And then they reply with, they come back at you with rage and threats and everything. But what they were going to do, and we can see this now after we've come through what we've just gone through the last couple of years for a lot of different reasons. I don't need to go into it, but this is how they do this. Where did okay, I have to ask a question. Why does a man need a license to cut another man's hair? Is there a reason? Is there a good reason? Well, no, there isn't. A man needs scissors and a comb to cut another man's hair. But yet he pays a licensing fee to the state, to the bureaucrats, to the parasites, so he can cut somebody else's hair. Well, what they wanted to do was they wanted to say that pigs like ours with straight tails or curly tails or floppy ears or erect ears, or brown pigs and pink pigs, basically all pigs, could become feral and you can no longer have them. And then they figured we'd put up a big fight. They could mediate the fight because they're the attorney general and they're the, Department of Agriculture. They'll mediate it, but they're gonna land someplace where they want to land, and they're both on the same side. And the place that they would land is any non-native species. This was in the Invasive Species Act. It's still in the act. Any non-native species is potentially feral. And, in the plant kingdom, it's potentially invasive, right? So
Yep.
the state is saying, well, we're not saying you can't have it, but it's dangerous, so we've got to give you a license for it. So right now on my farm, it is a farm, but it's also private property. So if I'm not breaking the law here, then they can't come on without my permission or a warrant. And without breaking the law, they can't get a warrant, and I'm never going to give them permission. No way. No way. They can sweet talk me all they want. I don't care. You're wearing the wrong uniform, boys. You're not getting on. So there's where our freedom is. But they tried to schmooze us into negotiating it away. And they always do that. They always do that. But we caught them in time. And now we keep telling everybody. And I get to go to different speaking events and I get to tell real smart people. I got to tell a real smart guy the other night how to stalk them and how to lay traps for them and how to take their homes away from them. So if they want to be parasites and they want to be bureaucrats, they got to be real careful because we're coming, right? And we're not coming for the group of them. Oh, no. No, we're just going to pick at the real dumb ones around the outside, pick them off. And then when they go in the break room and they say, you know what they did to me? Then it will make the rest of them sit up and start thinking about their oath of office. They're actually in place to protect our rights, not to impede on our rights. And, I'm not blaming them. They're like dogs behind a chain link fence. That's all they are. And we back away from them so they get more ferocious. But we've got to open the gate, let them come through and pinch their little heads off is what we have to do. And then it'll smarten them up. They're there to do a certain job, but we don't work for, they work for us. They're not our masters, and they have to be kind of brought into line a little bit. And I hope that they are brought into line, and I hope it doesn't wind up in a extremely ugly situation, which I have seen. I've actually seen this when a society breaks loose and really bad things happen. Like maybe some office where you are forced to go in every year to get a license for this or that, and they abuse you. When things break loose, it's payback time, and that can get really ugly. Really ugly. And the sides aren't even close. They're not fair. It's like 1% to 99%.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about the parasite class is a lot of times they're really dumb and they don't realize that they live amongst us. I shake my head at that, but now we're all starting to see this. And I hope it doesn't get super ugly. I hope it doesn't, but it's completely out of our hands, I think.
It is. Well, I'm glad it landed well with the pigs, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad to know if I need a haircut for someone that doesn't have a license, I'll come see you.
We like to have conversations about licensing and permits and certifications and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun.
I
It's really
gathered as much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. We've been on for wow, hour and 6 minutes. This is the time when I cut you loose, and then I talk to my people for a little bit. And we've kind of vet you a little bit. We want to see if we want to let you in our group. Maybe we will.
Oh.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe you can come down to Seed Savers. That would be
Yeah,
a really
that'd be
good
great.
time to meet.
We
Or
love it.
before then, just let us know that you want to come down and see our farm. We'd love to show you
Yeah.
around.
That would be great.
We would love to.
Just
You
also,
have-
I don't know if you have the info, but if anybody is interested, we did offer a discount, and so that code is seeds10. If you go to our website, and there's
Okay.
anything that you want to order on there, if you type in the code seeds10, that should give you 10% off.
Okay. Groovy.
Yeah,
These would make really nice presents for people, wouldn't they?
they
Yeah.
would.
Christmas time, it gets pretty popular for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might get some interesting reactions depending on who those gifts go to.
Ah,
Whatever your relatives are.
yeah. Yeah, we kind of feel like in the training world, in getting people trained up, we're ready to move to the next phase where we just conduct train the trainer classes. Like it seems like the time is coming near, and we want not only to train people to do the thing, we want them to be trained to train others to do the thing.
Yeah.
So it really takes off like a runaway train.
That's what you
And
want.
I can see where your outfit is the same way. I mean,
Yep.
you're not telling people they can't propagate these seeds and spread them out further. You're encouraging them to do that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
really cool. That's
Yeah, and
really cool.
any help or don't feel free. Anybody can email us, or if you have questions
Yeah.
on how to save the seeds, or it's their first time ever doing it, we're here to help. So that's what we'd like to do.
Okay. So the network is tightening right now. I've talked with 2 people this week that are, well-known personalities that called here. And we had a video that took off, and Joe's doing these shorts that have really taken off. And it just seems like everything's just starting to happen. So I'm open to any kind of networking or anything that we need to do. I'm definitely open to it, and ring my phone if you need to, by all means.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
God
Thanks
bless
for coming. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to
And we
meeting you.
love your milk.
you. Yeah.
Oh, we got a lot of it now. Let me tell you.
Do
Let
ya?
me tell you, we were really running short there. Like we were having to cut people's bottles down about this far so everybody got their milk. And we had 2 cows freshen on the same day. So now I've got buckets of milk.
Right.
So we need more people. And you know what's happening is I'm going to have to buy more cows. I hate to say it, but I have to do that because we have more people that want milk. And
Yeah.
that's a story in itself.
That's a great
That's a story in
problem.
itself. The whole raw
That's-
milk thing is really fun because we know the truth about it. And I think that small farms like ours could really do well with 10 cows. You could
Yeah.
really do well with 10 cows, but people don't do it because they're under the impression that raw milk is illegal, and
Mhm.
they just keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it. But that's okay. We'll milk the cows and we'll sell it. We do all right with it.
Yeah, and
So-
we'll pass your info about the cows along to people we know. So hopefully you'll be using all those 10.
Mhm.
What do you come down to Cadillac to get it?
A friend of ours who she actually works for us doing seeds. She comes down
Okay.
and picks up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be good
Yeah.
if there was a point person that would come to the farm and get it,
Uh-huh.
because we take, I think, Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday to Cadillac, but then there's all those other days that are open. Maybe we need to start going to Traverse City.
You
Maybe.
could. Yeah.
There might be a market.
Yeah.
Oh, there is. We used
there
to do it years ago. We
Yeah.
went to Traverse City, but you got to have a drop-off point, and it's doable, but it would require an employee,
Uh-huh.
to really do it right. But okay, we'll talk about that more when we see you. I gotta
Okay.
Okay. Thanks
cut you
again.
off here and then take a little housekeeping.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right,
Bye.
thank
Thanks
you.
again. Take
Yep.
care.
Good night. All right, you guys, that was cool. It was really cool for me, but I was thinking that they had just started this business a short time ago in response to the what Joel said the other night, the tsunami of people getting into farming and homesteading. But that's not the case. So that brings a whole nother facet to this. 15 years ago, they started this. And I would say 15 years ago, it would take a little bit of faith to step out and do this. So I appreciate that. All right. So here it is, Thursday night. We've got nothing going on this weekend at the farm. I am actually going to be butchering tomorrow and Saturday to start paying some bills around here. Let's see. Now is our time, people. Now is our time. I keep hearing this day after day. And if you come to a channel like this and you are looking for a spot in the realm, now is the time to seek that out. And if you need help finding that spot, make that known, because somebody else might know right where you need to be. All right. I'm kind of at a loss for words today. It just doesn't happen very often, does it? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Doesn't happen very often. Oh, today, northern Michigan, we had rain all day, and now it's down to, I think, 30 degrees. So we're looking at tomorrow being a real icy day. So I'm hoping I can do some butchering tomorrow, but I might not be able to because I have to go to another farm to pick pigs up, and I may not be able to do that. But Saturday and Sunday is supposed to be really nice. Supposed to be in the 40s and sunny Saturday and Sunday in February. Hard to believe. Okay. Is there anything else that I need to pass on? Oh, yes, there is. We have somebody that we sold a dog to 2 years ago that can no longer keep their dog. A Great Pyrenees male, and he's castrated. His name is Doug. And if you are interested in him, get a hold of me and I'll tell you the particulars on it. He's not here at the farm. He's at their place, but they can no longer keep him. So I hope somebody knows. Hope somebody knows somebody that needs a dog, a Great Pyrenees. Right? It might be a good farm dog. Might be. All right. I guess that's it. I'm going to go. All right. Anyone can farm.